Welcome, true believers. Stumbled upon a video on YouTube the other day from Geekvolution, Geeks Not Nerds. A video featuring Captain Logan himself and Vince. And the topic was about, is Iron Man the new face of Marvel? Yeah. Here it is.
character that is so inventive and fun and different that I don't feel like that's going to go away, and I don't feel like Iron Man can completely step into those shoes.
I think that you're right at the core of the character. I don't think you're right about the way he's been handled in the last decade.
Yeah, no, I understand. And there's a reason why there are 2 Spider-Man books and then a bajillion Avengers with Iron Man in it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I mean, like, you know, way back in the day, you could certainly say, well, there used to be one Spider-Man book and one Iron Man book, but you also had fewer books altogether, where like characters didn't have multiple books, and maybe you had like Spider-Man team up, and you could technically call that a second Spider-Man book. But Marvel usually had Marvel team up, and it just had Spider-Man in it all the time, you know. And so, like, you know, when you go back to the 60s and the 70s and even into the 80s, they had just fewer books, and then once you got into the 90s, they started blowing it up, so that you had a whole lot more books, and so then you go to DC and Batman's always had 4 or 5 books. The difference between Batman and Spider-Man you're absolutely right at the core of the characters, but the difference between them, yeah, I know, but I feel like we need to also go in this direction too. The difference between them in the way they've been written and the way they've been published in the last several years is that Batman has not been fundamentally changed, like what people like about him, so that people won't keep buying books for him. But the problem is, it's difficult not for Spider-Man to go that direction. I understand what happened. It's just unfortunate that it happened that way, because Spider-Man was a kid and he was growing up. And at some point, if he grows up, then you either have to allow new stories to be told about that character in a different way as an adult, or you have to retcon him and bring him back to a younger age. They went with the second possibility, and that was a bad idea, because now we're just kind of retreading the same stories and not doing them as well, and that's really what's been going on, in my opinion, with that character. I know a lot of people like Slott. I don't care for a lot of what he's done with the character. I feel like he's been very inconsistent tonally with the character, and I feel like he's just regressed him back so far. But Slott's not to blame for the beginning of that. One More Day, of course, is to blame for that. Of course, as always, because you know, you can blame One More Day for pretty much everything that's been wrong with Spider-Man since 2007.
Who's responsible for One More Day?
Quesada. Yeah, of course. And you know, JMS's name is on it, but JMS wanted his name off of it. I mean, he was writing Spider-Man at the time. That was mandated from on high. Quesada made him write that. He didn't want to write it. He didn't want to do that, and that's when he left. So you know, he broke up the marriage. He did it Quesada's way, because he told him to, with the ridiculous Mephisto thing, and then that was it. You know, and then he left, and Spider-Man has not been the same since. So I really feel like that has everything to do with the confusion of what to do with this character. You know, I mean, we can't just have him suddenly start getting back together with Mary Jane again unless they realize that that's not a big problem for most readers. You know what I mean? Quesada had this idea that like the marriage was what was wrong with Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Him and Mary Jane being married ruined that character. It didn't for most readers. It didn't for me. I don't think it did for a lot of people, and most people hate One More Day. We've talked about this a lot on the channel before, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, they kind of had to regress him while the rest of the Marvel Universe is moving forward. Spider-Man's had to go backwards and then kind of, you know, not really come very much forward while the rest of the Marvel Universe is going on. So I feel like he's kind of...
Yes, well said, Cap. Well said indeed. Yes, I agree. This is an older video, but his point still rings true. Spider-Man has not been the same since One More Day has been released to the public. And I think because of that, characters like Iron Man have taken the spotlight, taken advantage of what Spider-Man once held dear, which was the spotlight of having Spider-Man everywhere and all the comics and all that. But now it's been reduced to whatever Sony's doing with him, which is a piece of crap. And then it goes back to the Marvel thing where they're talking about making him a freaking teenager again for the next reboot. I'm like, how many freaking reboots are you morons going to make? I expect that from Sony, not Marvel. Just bring Garfield over to freaking Marvel, have a couple of tweaks in the writing, in the script, done. Like, it's not that hard. I mean, the kid grows up eventually. You can't have him be a teenager forever. But it's shit like that that makes Iron Man could rise up in popularity, but he's never going to be the face of Marvel. Okay, it's not going to happen. Granted, Robert Downey Jr. is a great choice to play Iron Man. It's great. He's great in the role. But Iron Man is never going to be Spider-Man. Sorry. Like, Tony Stark, at his core, is not that much of a relatable character. I mean, as far as being the hero, okay, but he's a jerk at the end of the day. Always has been, always will be. The character arc he went through from Iron Man 1 to the Avengers, see a little bit of a change in there, but nothing to compare to freaking Spider-Man. If it wasn't for Robert Downey Jr., he wouldn't have any movies. And no one would give a crap about his freaking character. So, there's that. But, you know. Of course, it's always a matter of perspective. And I agree with what Vince is saying as well. With the toy stores, I don't see that many Spider-Man stuff anymore. I see more Avengers and Iron Man, Captain America stuff, because that's what is in business these days. But it can always change. I mean, I just hope to God this deal with Marvel falls through so we can get Spider-Man back to where it needs to be. Because right now, it's not looking so good for the with it.
Yeah, fair enough. And in the Ultimate Universe, he's literally not the same character anymore.
That's right.
I suppose, and in the regular universe, he's pretty much not the same character anymore.
Well, it's going to be a moot point after a while because I keep hearing that they're gonna destroy Ultimate altogether. So.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily be against that.
There's been a lot of talk about that lately. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. So I've heard some things. I'm not going to speculate, but anyway, yeah. So when I've got more actual news about that, we'll talk about it. But.
Indeed. Oh, just cut it. Just cut it all.
So I guess the reason I felt the need to talk about all that is because, again, you were right in what you said about the core of this character is that everybody wants more real Spider-Man, but the thing is, if Spider-Man's kind of fallen back in what he used to be story-wise, doesn't it make sense that somebody else had to kind of step up and that it was sort of what was popular at the time, and so it was Iron Man?
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of happened. I mean, like, Iron Man is in a whole bunch of books because of Avengers. Now he's even going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's freaking everywhere. He's going to be in that book, yeah. He's just going to be everywhere. And I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Downey didn't guest star, didn't make a cameo in the movie just because of that, you know. And anyway, I mean, he's everywhere. And like, Spider-Man is also an Avenger, but like. Iron Man was always an Avenger, so it makes more sense.
Yeah, you know, it seems to be that Spider-Man is becoming more of a peripheral character. I feel like people are starting to use people peripherally, and they're starting to really focus in on a single character. Now, like even in Thunderbolts, Deadpool's become a very peripheral character.
Oh, really?
And now that surprises me a little bit, considering how big of a thing Deadpool was for a while. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're starting to pull back a little bit and realize this character has a place. And maybe we shouldn't be shoving it in people's faces, and then we'll just let this character naturally grow. I feel like there's a potential that eventually Iron Man will get too big for his britches, and then suddenly I'll have to build a new suit. No. But at some point, Iron Man will get a little too big for his britches, and then
I just when he started wearing an Ironmonger suit.
This is room here. Shut up. Boom, boom. But I like how
I have a guest room in the back.
Hop in. There's champagne. But
that's weird.
I feel like at some point Iron Man's going to become too big, and he's going to be in so much, or he's just going to become oversaturated, and people will lose a bit of interest, and they'll pull him back, and then they'll start pushing other people to the front. And I feel like the natural choice is going to be Spider-Man.
Maybe so. What's really interesting is that Deadpool had like way too many of his own books for a while and things like that. He was on too many teams. Iron Man was always a team player, so having him on a bunch of teams doesn't make anybody go, wait a minute, why is he here? Yeah. Like Wolverine, where Wolverine is like, why is he on so many teams? I feel like Spider-Man's kind of like Wolverine right now, where like he's put on covers to sell books, but then nothing's done with him inside, right? I feel like that happens a whole lot, but like I'm not sure if you can oversaturate Iron Man.
That's a terrific
I'm
point.
really not sure you're right about that.
That's a good point. Well,
because the nice thing about Iron Man is you put him in a book, and even if he's like not entirely peripheral, people aren't going to be like, why is he involved in all these stories? Because he's a genius who makes a lot of weapons, so there's always a place for him. Whereas Spider-Man, there's a lot of stories where it's just like, what would we do with that guy?
Well, maybe what I should say is this: maybe he won't become oversaturated. Maybe he'll just outwear his welcome. Maybe he'll just be around so much, and maybe he won't even fade away in the way of being non-present.
Yeah.
But maybe his presence in books will be a little less important. Maybe he'll become one of those peripheral characters again, just because people go, Iron Man's been around for years. God, that guy's been around since that Robert Downey Jr. guy played him. He's old now.
I think what's probably going to, I think you're right about that, but I also think what's more likely.
Think of it like this. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. So ever since he has taken on the role, the character Wolverine has, his popularity has risen since 2000 when the first X-Men movie came out. And I think he's one of the main reasons why the X-Men films are so popular and so good and successful. So it's kind of like that. And I think if Sony was smart, they would keep Andrew Garfield because he's the reason the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was so good. Him and Emma Stone, that's it. That's it. It's like, it's common sense, people. Robert Downey Jr. is the only reason Iron Man is successful right now. Once he leaves, just as these gentlemen said, once he leaves, it's gone. I mean, they'll still sell toys and all that, but once Robert Downey Jr. retires, it's over. And they will need to find new blood to replace him. And trust me, it's not going to be easy. Robert Downey Jr. is one of those one-of-a-kind type actors. One of those guys you find once in a lifetime. Hugh Jackman is irreplaceable. Robert Downey Jr. is irreplaceable. Andrew Garfield is irreplaceable. Granted, you can always find someone who's a fan just like them, but I don't think you're going to find the same people, any other people that are just as passionate as them. How many other actors have gone to freaking Comic-Con to read a speech about why this character is so important to him? Andrew Garfield did that a couple years ago. Hugh Jackman did like a song about Wolverine or something. I haven't seen Robert Downey Jr. do anything like that. I know that he likes playing the character, but honestly, the guy has a little bit too much of a pride problem. He's got too much of an ego. Never seen him at Comic-Con in New York City. He would demand way too much money, and his ego just gets in the way. So I don't hold my breath on this guy being this guy anytime soon. I thought I would. No offense. No, that's not true. Iron Man 3 sucked. Yeah, let's give Nick Fury a movie so he can yell at everybody with his eye patch.
I think
So am I
that
looking at the
movie,
patch or the
if
eye?
show ends
I
up
can't
being
tell.
good, I'm planning to do a series on it.
Well said, gentlemen. Thank you very much. So, yeah, that's about it for tonight's episode. I think they made their points pretty clear, as did I. Iron Man is popular right now, but he's not the new face of Marvel. I don't think he will ever be the new face of Marvel. Not as long as Spider-Man's around. As long as Spider-Man still sells books and all that. Movies haven't been too good lately for Spidey, and then again, Iron Man 3 is no exception. Shit sucked. But, you've got different opinions about both series and all that, but it's fine. Like, yeah. I hate to be the one to say it, but I think Stark's running out of steam. Iron Man 3 was a little iffy. It was a big freaking step backwards. He went through all this progression from Iron Man 1 to the Avengers, and then boom, it's all gone in Iron Man 3. He's going back to having anxiety attacks out of freaking nowhere. So nothing's been the same since New York. He makes a freaking threat to a terrorist on freaking television and does nothing to prepare for the damn attack. Like, dude, you just gave your freaking address on TV to a freaking terrorist. Not sure. He's dealt with terrorists before, but not the freaking Mandarin. Regardless of what their Mandarin turned out to be, you should always prepare for when shit's going down. Like, that would never happen with Batman. Batman had like freaking TIG missiles outside of Wayne Manor. Then again, he wouldn't have given Wayne his freaking identity, so that's a whole different story, I suppose. Still, my point is Iron Man 3 sucks and it pretty much ruined Tony Stark for me. So yeah, even though he's going to be in Avengers 2, he doesn't exist to me anymore. So, short answer for him being a new face of Marvel? Hell no. Hell no. Keep dreaming.